Otakuology podcast with Otaku Mike and Jin Graves.
Hey guys, what's up? Jin here, back with another episode of the Otakuology podcast. And as always, with my buddy, friend, amigo that makes up this gruesome twosome podcast is Otaku Mike.
I thought I was doing the intro this time.
No, I was going to do it for Bubble, and then you were going to do it for that other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, not for the other movie.
Okay.
Surprise.
Surprise!
Surprise! Sweet fries. Butterflies.
We got a mix up on our hands. Just like always. Otakuology podcast is always relevant and is always on time. We're covering an anime that's made in the year 2022.
Oh my gosh. now you're making me think. So somebody asked me this thing before, and my brother Justin made up this stupid superhero that his superpower was he would only arrive in the nick of time, and his name was Just in Time.
So like One Punch Man?
Basically.
Okay.
But he wasn't walking around, like he would just show up.
Oh, okay.
That was his superpower. So it was a play on his name, not Justin, but it was Just in Time.
Okay. That's fine. Anyways,
so
let's get into this.
Today we're covering a movie that was just put out on Netflix not that long ago. I think it's only been out for probably 2 weeks now.
And every other podcast seems to be covering this. So we were like, hey, let's jump on the Bubble bandwagon and pop this bubble.
Burst those bubbles.
Burst
them bubbles.
Actually, I haven't listened to any other podcast that's covered it. I just know a lot of the anime podcasts in my podcast feed have covered this anime.
So let me throw this out before we really get into it.
Okay.
So, I kept seeing the thing for it, and I was like, oh, I want to check it out. I want to watch it, because the little thing that pops up on Netflix on the what do you call it? The stall screen or whatever?
Like the new to you or whatever, or just added thing or something?
No. Like if you stop watching it, you just leave it paused for a while, and it pops up and it has the advertisements go by.
Like the screensaver?
Yeah. So,
yeah.
The screensaver it looks like the world's upside down and this girl's floating, there. And and so I was like, oh yeah, I want to check that out. It looks pretty good. And I watched it, and I thought it was funny because I brought it up to you that we should cover it or whatever, because I didn't think it would be quite as popular as it seems to have gotten. And then I did that, and you're like, oh yeah, we'll record next week. And then, like you said, this week it seems like everybody is putting it out, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was so confused. Like, is somebody listening to when me and Mike talk?
I think I saw like 3 or 4 podcasts do it. I don't remember which ones. Yeah. But I remember seeing people put it in their thing, like, hey, let's talk about Bubble, or we're talking about Bubble.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So yeah, it's a thing. It's I don't know if this is gonna get up to your name level of enthusiasm or popularity, but yeah,
I have no idea, because the other one was one that I've had in my queue for a while. The other one I told you about that was words bubble up like soda pop.
And
I watched that one 2 before I watched this one, and I was kind of like, are both of these main characters the same? Because when you look at them, besides the parkour aspect, both of them have a headset on. They wear it all the time. They do different stuff. And I'm kind of sitting there like, is this the new male trend? More of the main
Oh,
males are gonna
to have headsets on.
to have headsets on and something to go along with it, like they have a problem or whatever, and
Like
just
the original one was like goggles. Everybody had goggles on.
yeah,
Now we're having
yeah,
headsets.
yeah. So I'm like, what is going on?
Or they have a band-aid on their face.
Yeah, I got a scar on my face.
I got a scar on my face. I had to put a band-aid on. I got a boo-boo.
We gotta look at the relevancy of this though.
My band-aid makes me look tough.
I'm gonna put a scar on my guy's face and a band-aid. Okay.
Yeah, a band-aid scar.
He's gonna be tough. What about that other
Anyways.
character over there? I'm gonna put goggles on him. Okay, that's the antagonist.
Anyways, you want to hop into this movie and talk about it and whatnot?
Yeah. So the best way I can really say this is it was a movie about bubbles.
It was a movie about bubbles and parkour.
Yeah.
Parkour.
So it really reminded me kind of sort of Weathering with You, because it involved weathering conditions, but that's about it. But we kind of have this situation where there is now a zone, which I can't remember what it was. Anytime I tried to talk to somebody about it, I was like, well, in the Pokemon Arceus game, where you have that zone that pops up out of nowhere, I said, that's kind of what this bubble was.
I mean, it was basically like a giant dome you could walk through.
Yeah. And a lot of the kids and stuff ended up going in here to get away, I guess, from authorities and things like that.
Because Tokyo has pretty much been decimated.
Yes.
And destroyed because of these random bubbles that have popped up out of nowhere.
Which, let me throw that to you, right?
Okay.
Were these things really bubbles, or were they raindrops?
I'm not for sure.
Because they called them bubbles, but thinking about the consistency of if it was soap and an actual bubble from a bubble blower or whatever.
Well, I mean, Tokyo ended up flooding.
Exactly.
Because
so
everybody popped.
Everybody said that these were bubbles, but I think they were probably closer to like floating raindrops.
I mean, it's possible. Who knows? I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
In that aspect, but I mean, it's possible. Yeah. Hey, who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's just what I thought about whenever they were like, "Oh, Tokyo flooded," and I was like,
Yeah.
How are you going to get enough bubbles that have nothing on the inside to fill up Tokyo that much?
Yeah, I mean, although there were a lot of bubbles, so like the bubbles kind of stayed there for a while and collected around Tokyo, and then they popped eventually and caused like massive floodings and stuff.
Right. Well, and then the other thing that I questioned that I wanted answered, which this will play in when we rate our system, I wanted to answer where these damn bubbles came from, okay?
Aliens, right?
Because they never said. Because out of nowhere, we got all these fucking bubbles, and we know how much water is on the Earth and everything else, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that now, out of the Earth that we had and everything, and it being 80% water or whatever it is, 70% water, that now we have, if we're going off of 100% scale of what the Earth is, we now have like another, I don't know, fucking 50%.
Yeah, I mean, Tokyo is pretty much, Tokyo is pretty much underwater. Most of it was, or all of it was. It seemed like,
and I mean, it didn't talk about it anywhere else.
Yeah,
It talked when the bubbles fell that they were like everywhere, not just in Japan. They were in the United States. They were in Russia. They were everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And that was it. But now, after the event happened with our main character, then that's when the dome formed and all these bubbles like collected in one area, kind of, sort of, I guess.
So
Because
yes, yeah. I mean, I get it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get
yeah.
your gripes with
So
it.
I'm really just confused because it seemed like they tried to play it off that this was a phenomenon that is like a regular occurrence. Like, hey, it gets too hot, and then from the ocean water it goes up and makes whatever, and these just so happen to be like bubbly raindrops or whatever.
Yeah.
But still, if it did that, all you're doing is replacing that water. So this is like more added water, and that's where I guess I'm confused on where it's supposed to go from there. Because then later on, we do see at the end of the movie where all the water's kind of gone
Okay.
and everybody's rebuilding.
We'll get to that. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But let's start with the beginning of this movie.
Okay, so in the ending,
And
what if we just started at the end one time on a show and then worked our way to the beginning? Oh man, people be like, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
anyway, so we have our essential group of people. They're these kids who have been abandoned by their parents, the society.
Or they ran off.
They ran off. They've because of the tragic events that have happened. We have the Blue Blazes, which are this parkour team who live in this bubble, and they parkour race through.
Can I tell you? Every time I heard this name, I thought of the video game.
Yes,
Blaze Blue.
Yeah, Blaze Blue. Yeah, no, I thought the same thing. I thought the exact same thing when they said that. They're like, Blue Blazes. I'm like, do you mean Blaze Blue?
Right.
Uh,
Oh gosh.
but I thought it was funny. Like the running joke was, guys, this is a fucking terrible name.
Right.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Every team had like a fucking terrible name. Okay.
Yeah, like the ninjas and the Undertakers or Undertaker or whatever they're called.
Yeah, the purple guys, the Undertakers.
Which they called them the coroners or the forget what they called them.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they called them.
And those guys were weird because they didn't talk at all.
Yeah. But we have our parkour teams who live in this bubble and parkour race through obstacles through different parts of the city. It's almost like would you say it's almost like a relay race kind of, or they all race at once? I think it's they all race at once, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you start at your spot, you all race, and you basically play parkour capture the flag.
Yeah. And we see them our characters racing through the city.
Yeah, and then the winner gets like a set of resources, basically.
Yeah, it's basically like they're trading and bartering for food, but they're also competing with it. Like teams will put up I'll get rice and we have batteries or whatever, kind of situation. Whoever wins gets everything in the resource pool. It's a very competitive scene, apparently, and we have our team.
It is a competitive scene with 5 teams.
With 5 teams, yeah, that was interesting because I feel like a lot of the other teams didn't get a lot of show in this movie. It mostly focused on the Blue Blazers, and the Undertaker weird ninjas. And we meet our main character who is named Hibiki, and Hibiki is like this what would you call him? Like a parkour savant. Like he's really fucking good at parkour. And
Probably, but that's because of his hearing thing.
yeah, and I have a question about that when we get to the hearing thing. And he ends up
I mean,
going to the
we could talk about it now because it'll play into.
Okay. So I have a question. I have a question about Hibiki and his hearing thing, because he has like sensitive hearing and
Okay.
really good hearing.
Yeah.
Is Hibiki autistic? Because a lot of autistic people have really good sensitive hearing. And that's what I thought Hibiki was Hibiki was like autistic.
I
I know they don't,
don't think he was autistic. But I do think that
or he was potentially on
um
the autistic spectrum.
probably, but I feel like the hearing's what did it.
Because a lot of autistic people have like very very sensitive hearing, and a lot of them do wear
Y-
like
Yeah.
noise canceling headphones. So that's why I thought,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Hibiki must be on the spectrum because of this he's always wearing a headset on,
Yeah.
like 90% of the movie.
If we would have just got the clip from when he was a kid, I probably would have said yes, but now that he's an adult, I don't think so. Um, just by some of the other actions we see through the movie that he does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, but I think that him having the um hyper sense of hearing or whatever is what made him seem autistic.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, and I was waiting for a part, because there is a part where um somebody, I guess, goes and reaches for him or whatever, and
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to kind of shirk away, and he never did. So I was kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Yeah.
obviously he's not like, if he is, he's like really low grade on the spectrum.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Anyways, going back, so Hibiki ends up saving one of his comrades, who I don't remember what any of their names were in the movie.
well, uh, do you want me to name them all for you?
Okay.
Okay, so you got glasses, you got
Glasses.
headband, and headband.
Uh huh.
You got Naruto Kid, and then you have Brock.
Yeah,
I don't know
Brock.
why he just looks like a Brock.
Don't
Yeah,
forget
the tall guy.
don't forget the scientist who I called Badonkadonk because they seem to like to show her butt a lot in the move throughout the movie.
No, so she was. I don't know what her name was, but she was like the pretty one, and then
She
you
was
have
hot scientist.
yeah, and then you have Hawaiian shirt,
Yeah.
which was like the guy that like I I guess he was kind of like the caretaker of like everybody, but he wasn't. If that makes sense.
He kind of, I don't know. I think he was like,
Which I do have to say that's what I enjoyed as one of the things in the movie. Uh, is whenever anybody did one of these parkour races, every other team that wasn't participating was on standby
yeah,
as
they
like
were
a
on
rescue
standby,
squad.
like a rescue squad helping type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
there's
I
one guy
really
in the
enjoyed that aspect though.
there's one guy in the movie. I think he was like with the red team, and he would like smell this thing, like constantly
Yeah.
like smelled this like thing. I thought he was smelling like a pair of panties like the whole time,
Oh my gosh.
but it turned out to be like a squishy like toy or something. I think it was.
I don't know if I caught that at all.
Yeah, it's throughout the movie. He's
Oh my
and
gosh.
and he's just like sniffing it, and I'm like, okay, so we're going with this, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Because that was the red lobsters or the
yeah,
red crabs.
the red crabs or red lobsters, whatever they're called. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, Hibiki saves one of his people, they win the day. We find out they've been there for some time in the bubble, and Hibiki ends up going off after they win all this stuff, and all the rest of his team is celebrating,
Yeah.
and he goes
Oh,
off.
well,
What?
so backing up to the hearing thing real quick, right?
Okay.
So we find out that because of Hibiki's hearing, that he is the only character or the only player right now that is able to use the bubbles and jump off of those
Yeah.
instead of using actual tangible stuff or
Because
whatever.
other people do try to jump off the bubbles,
Yeah,
but they don't work, and that's how the whole saving your teammate comes into play.
that's how the Naruto kid almost got his ass taken out.
Yeah, yeah. And so Hibiki goes off, and he's like, oh, I can hear a song coming from the Tokyo Tower, which like blew up a couple years ago. And he goes to the
Yeah.
Tokyo Tower, and he goes to try to run up it, which I question on what Hibiki's abilities are, because sometimes they seem very like not grounded in reality at points when he's running
He's a
up shit.
he's a ninja.
Because there's a time where he's running up like vertical walls in
Yeah.
this for quite some time. And I'm like, Hibiki, is he like have some kind of supernatural powers or something, But Hibiki does
Well,
not.
if you looked whenever they would do a wide panel of Tokyo Tower or whatever, then you would see there's only one side of that thing holding it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so how is this thing getting held up if three of the legs are basically
Because
broken and shattered?
I know there was like weird like gravity things going on with some of the
Yeah.
stuff. Like some things would be
Well,
floating and
it,
stuff, and
it had its own like bubble.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But he does not make it up the Tokyo Tower. He falls down and he sees this girl who he thinks is a mermaid. But
He didn't see her yet.
we didn't see her yet.
No, so here's the weird thing is there's a bubble that looks like a
Oh
slime
yeah, yeah. The
on the side
bubble.
of the Tokyo Tower that sees him,
Yes.
and then it starts going in the water after him because he ends up falling in there and he's stuck in like a subway train
Yeah.
and ends up, I feel like it was like his last breath, ends up breathing like his last breath, and then this bubble and his little bubble of air end up colliding and it turns into this girl.
Yes.
And
The
then
bubble turns
there you go.
into a girl.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of how, remember those memes where we would get like Earth Chan or whatever,
Yeah.
where it was like the Earth as an anime girl,
Yeah.
or like I think it was like Space Chan or something. I don't remember what exactly it was.
You mean like all the promoting the Pokemon podcast? You mean like all of the chibis that are made off of like Pokemon?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so this girl, this mysterious bubble girl, shows up, who probably has one of the worst designs in this movie. Like outfit wise, her outfit is fucking not good. I mean, it just doesn't look right. It's like a weird patchwork schoolgirl uniform where it's
Oh
just
yeah, that's true.
white, red, blue, polka dot plaid thing or whatever going on, It's
Yeah.
weird looking. And she shows up. Hibiki gets saved, and he brings her back to his comrades, and she's like a feral animal almost at times at the beginning,
Yeah.
because they have to teach her how to learn and be a respectable parkour teenager.
Right.
um
How to talk.
yeah, how to talk, how to eat, what's an egg, uh because she's like going crazy and
Right.
grabbing things with her mouth and stuff. And
Don't fuck
apparently
with the
she's really good at park.
chickens.
Don't fuck with the chickens. Yes, she cracked a couple eggs.
So let me tell you the stupid thing that I did. So when she was messing with the chickens the second time, one of the people like walked up to her. I think it was the guy with the headband. One of them
Yeah.
walked up before Hibiki walked over there to like really stop and get her. And I just started going, chicken attack.
Stupid.
And I was like, I was doing the chicken fighting song for it, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, yeah. They end up having breakfast, and we find out Hibiki names this mysterious girl Uta. I don't remember why he names her Uta, but he's like, Hibiki, Uta, Hibiki, Uta, Uta, Hibiki.
Uta was the name of something.
Yeah.
Because it was like the Japanese translation for something that was English that they had.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either. Moving on. It doesn't matter. But Hibiki goes off after this, and Uta finds out.
So Uta in Japanese means song.
Okay.
Maybe
That's fine.
Maybe that's what he got it from.
So after this, doesn't Uta and Hibiki go off, and Hibiki, we find out that he is like he has a green thumb, and he like waters flowers and grows flowers in like a secret location. That happens next, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to take this part?
Yeah, they go and they go to where he's got this little kind of garden patch, which is on top of one of the skyscraper buildings that's still intact.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he just goes up there and he waters all the plants, and I mean, it's kind of a beautiful scenery area. And it's got many different kinds of flowers, which I really wonder how long it took him to actually do all of that.
Yeah.
Because it kind of sounded like when he was explaining it to us that he was the one that did it all by himself, like brought the stuff up there, did all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what I got from it.
I kind of really wonder about that, because it honestly wasn't that big of a part of the movie. Like it was something that I feel like we could have cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it will get to that.
But no, he was up there, and he kind of tells us the reason why he's got this place is because it does give him a little something to do, and it's so high up that not a lot of parkourers could actually get to it. But it's somewhere where he can go and actually take his headset off and not have to worry about noises and sounds and everything.
And this is where we kind of get the backstory for Hibiki, into where he like would have he would cover his ears with loud sounds and stuff, and his mom would take him to all these different doctors and stuff like that, and you go to these special places for kids with sensitive hearing and stuff, and it was a whole ordeal. But I have a question for you.
Right.
There's a part in this where Hibiki's just sitting in this room with the headphone on, and he's with these other kids in this room, and his mom is at the door, and his mom closes the door. Did his mom abandon him?
No.
Because I thought his mom abandoned him.
No, I think that was the part where he was put in the room so that the doctor should talk to him. And then his mom his mom was talking to the doctor about the stuff, because the vibes I got was his mom never really abandoned him. The vibes that I got out of it were he was tired of being a burden on her and just left.
Was okay. Because
But
I got the thing like his mom was kind of fed up with it.
yeah,
Like those are the vibes that I got, and because I mean, let's be honest. When it comes to like uh anything different in Japan, whether it's a neurological disorder or something like that, like they Japan like kind of sweeps it under the rug sometimes.
that's true.
So that's why I
Yeah,
kind of took
out of
from it,
sight,
like
out of mind.
out of sight, out of mind, yes, type of thing,
Yeah,
and that's why I
yeah.
thought that maybe Hibiki's mom very much like abandoned him at this place.
Hey everyone, Jen here, and I wanted to take a quick second from the podcast to tell you about Anchor by Spotify. It's one of the easiest ways now that you can actually record a podcast all in one simple place. You can record it from your phone or your computer, post to any platform, including Spotify, and also have cool things like this ad or other things, podcast subscriptions happen to you. And it's all entirely free. So go out and download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get started today.
Yeah. Well,
That's what I thought.
see, and I was thinking that was going to happen too, but then you have to realize that he was on a school field trip whenever he got stuck at the Tokyo Tower.
Yeah.
The first time. So, like I said, I don't think she ever necessarily abandoned him. Maybe it ran through her mind. But I think after the whole incident with the Tokyo Tower and the bubbles first appearing is when he made the decision to not go back.
Okay.
Because the other thing is when it first happened, since it had already made so many people leave and all of this other stuff, that's one of the only places in the world that doesn't have a lot of noise that he didn't have to worry about too much.
Yeah. True.
So he was just one of those kids, I guess, that kind of ran away from not having to worry about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
so after this, after we get this, is this when the scientist gets captured after this? Or no, they have another parkour match, right?
yeah,
And
because
then
they have a parkour match with the yellow guys first. They have one with the red guys, which I think is the one that we're talking about now.
Oh yes, the red guys have a match with the Undertakers, and the Undertakers end up live streaming their. You find out that they live stream their parkour matches to get sponsorships and money and stuff like that, and they have these special water jet shoes that like shoots them up into the air real far.
I just gotta tell you, I'm super confused on that shit too.
Really?
Yeah,
I am too.
So like I get the shoes, I get it, right?
Yeah.
But when we get to the ending of the thing where they tell the guys that they'll give them the shoes, right?
Yeah.
And I was expecting a cord to be like hanging out of these shoes with like a backpack or something attached to it. Because how the fuck are these shoes generating water?
Yeah, that's true.
That's where I was confused about. I was like, is there a fan that spins super fast? I mean, where's the water coming from with these shoes? Because you'd see them and it was shoo, and I was just like, I'm so confused on this shit. Like, where does the stuff come for these shoes?
Maybe you just got to go with like anime logic, I guess. On that point, I guess. And so yeah, they lose. They end up the red lobsters end up, or the red crabs or whatever they're called, they end up losing against the Undertakers. And after this is where because my brain's kind of jumbled up at this part in the
So
movie.
I think this next kind of bigger part that we have is this is where um the doctor and Uta are together, and
Hmm.
she asked her to read her a book. She just picks one out,
Oh
and it's The
yes,
Little
yes.
Mermaid, which is where, you know, which I have to say, out of some of the titles that I've seen, people say, "Oh, well, this is The Little Mermaid with parkour." I strongly disagree with that.
You know what? Watching the movie, I kind of thought it might be The Little Mermaid with parkour,
Yeah,
but she's not a mermaid. She's a bubble.
right, right. Well, and see, that's where I strongly disagree, because I think so many people see that part, they get to this part, and they say, "Oh, this is The Little Mermaid." Well,
You could say
besides
Uta.
the
You could say Uta's story kind of is very similar to the Little Mermaid in that aspect, where
I
she
mean, the
she
only
comes.
thing I feel like that you can't throw anything with The Little Mermaid into it.
Well, and the fact that she comes from this other world, supposedly, or wherever she comes from, to
Yeah.
the human world,
Yeah. Well,
and
the only thing that I feel like even had a connection was this was the precursor for how Uta was going to die. Ish.
yeah.
Because whenever they did that and they kind of pointed out, "Oh, well, hey, the
Well,
Little Mermaid turned into foam." I was like,
after
"Oh
she,
shit."
after she references after they read the Little Mermaid, they bring up the Little Mermaid a lot in this movie.
Right. See, and that's why I think it was just a reference point. I really don't think that this is the Little Mermaid at all. I think it was just a reference point, and it was the foreshadow to let us know that Uta was going to basically die in some way by the foam. Because the other thing is since she was created, we
Hmm.
had already seen the little bubbles on her finger the entire time.
Yeah, and she
So
was
we
kind of
already
hiding it with a
knew
glove.
Yeah, so we already knew that something in this bond that she had was unstable for her being.
Yeah,
So, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. True. You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. So
Yeah.
after
So,
this is
but
is
yeah,
this
I
when
mean,
we get to the
so like I said though, but I just anytime any that I've seen anybody go, "Oh, this is Little Mermaid with parkour," I want to be like, "No, don't you
did
turn this
people
into
say that?
that."
Because I didn't see people saying that.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them where they have that as that's what bubble is.
Oh, okay, okay,
It's the description of their show, and I'm like, oh no,
uh
please
huh,
don't have people thinking that,
yeah,
because then people will watch it thinking one thing, and it will totally be something else.
yeah,
Now, let me throw this at you before we go farther. Do
uh
you
huh.
think that the Little Mermaid aspect being brought up took away from it at all?
Um,
Because, like you said, they do talk about it, like they almost hang their hat on that idea going forward.
yeah, I think it does. But I mean, for me, as also is there were so many unanswered questions in this movie.
Yeah.
To be honest,
I
uh,
agree. I agree. I feel
yeah,
like if they would have laid off of the Little Mermaid stuff so much, and maybe just had it as where the book was brought up,
yeah,
and maybe that little part where Uta says something about it,
uh huh,
if they would have left it at that, it still would have went together. It still would have made sense, but we wouldn't have had to worry about that, and they could have focused on some of those answered questions more.
yeah. I mean, she compares herself to the Little Mermaid quite a bit in this movie.
Right. Right. And I
Yeah,
mean that's one of the things I feel like they should have backed off of.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I just watched it. I didn't. I know. I'm just a reviewer. I didn't actually make it. I didn't actually make the movie, so I can't be too mad. You know.
Hey buddy. Hey buddy, you could have made the movie in a alternate universe.
Anyways, let's keep moving on.
Yeah.
So
So the
after
doctor gets
this,
kidnapped.
The doctor gets kidnapped. Miss Badonkadonk gets kidnapped, and she's high up on a crane. And the Undertakers are like, "Hey, come get your scientist lady." She's there, which we never talked about. She's there trying to monitor the bubbles and to figure out what the
Yes.
bubbles are for.
Yes.
And so she gets kidnapped, and they have this big, awesome parkour match where the Undertakers are trying to basically get rid of the blue blazes and like kind of force them down this weird red swirling bubble vortex thing that they got going on.
So that is the antlion pit. That's what they call it.
The antlion pit, which I don't ever know if they actually explain the antlion pit. It's just a
Well,
weird bubble pit that can kill you.
So here's the thing that is funny. So I know this from Naruto. I think that there is a part in this that people may know from Hunter x Hunter, but basically what an antlion pit is in the very center there's an ant that's buried underground, and when you get in you basically slide down and there's no way out until you get to the center. You get gobbled up basically. So that's what the idea of an antlion pit is.
Okay.
I think that's why they called it that, because if you go into it, then it happens.
Okay.
I don't think the Undertakers were trying to put them in there, though. It did seem that way, though.
I thought they were.
I don't think they were trying to. I think they were trying to have every possibility taken away from the blue blazes for them to take their boat and everything else.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was, is them. Now the other thing is that I'm really confused is, was there a secondary vendetta for anything? Because
it's possible.
Because the one that we're
obviously they do have history.
Yeah, well, because the one that we're shown is for them to have more views on their podcast thing, which is fucking extreme way to do it.
Yeah, they're live streamed or whatever. They're they're like twitching or whatever, to get more money or whatever.
So yeah, and so that's the thing that I question is, was there something more for them wanting the boat specifically and some of the other stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, we don't get a lot of context behind that with the Undertakers, you know.
And I almost thought that they were more of a sciencey group until
they look like fucking Naruto rejects.
Oh, they just look like a bunch of emo goth kids.
They look like Naruto rejects.
But
so I mean, there's one thing. Like, I mean, well, I'll talk about it later. But like, this movie goes from Naruto running to like actual running, and it would flip back and forth. And I was like, pick a running style. Come on. Nobody Naruto runs. That is not like a logical like way to run. Like, you just can't do any of that parkour stuff if you fucking Naruto run everywhere.
Yeah.
That shit fucking bugged me. That bugged me.
I was waiting for someone,
because we would see characters run.
I was waiting for somebody to do the baton run, where you have both your hands like your arms are down at your sides, but your hands are up in front of you, and you just, like if you were holding a cup and you were running. I was waiting for somebody to do that, and nobody ever did.
Like, we would see like characters like running, like an actual running, and then sometimes they would switch to Naruto running, and I was like, are we just not going to treat this like actual parkour, or are we going to have some fantasy element of this? It was that kind of bugged the shit out of me.
Right. Well, I mean, we had that one guy that was basically Naruto anyway.
Yes, and his double rat tail thing he had going on the back of his fucking head. Oh my god, fucking terrible, terrible character design.
Shaved sides, spiky hair on the top.
Yeah, two rat tails.
both the braids on the sides.
Yeah. Terrible
Yeah,
character design.
that's some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
mean, like you said earlier, though, that's one of the things that it seems like with this is they had a lot of weird character designs.
but like when we got to this point which I thought the parkour in this was really cool and very well animated.
Yeah.
In this movie, when we get to this particular part where they're battling the other parkour team, I thought this was the end of the movie.
Right.
I thought we were going leading into the end of the movie. And I pause it, and I'm like, I got 40 more fucking minutes of this movie to go?
Right.
Like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, okay. And so we move on to, which remind me what happens after the parkour scene.
All the stuff starts getting sucked down in the antlion pit.
Okay. And the red bubbles start attacking, right? Correct?
The red bubbles?
Yeah, the red bubbles. The red bubbles. They're like the bad bubbles. They're at the end of the fucking movie. The red bubbles are attacking the blue bubbles, which are the red bubbles attack Uta, right? Do you not remember this?
I don't remember red bubbles at all.
There are red bubbles in the movie because, like, we start to see like Uta and like the red bubbles are kind of calling for Uta, and there's one that looks like a big ass butthole.
I have no idea. I don't remember there being red bubbles. The only thing that I remember being red was the Chimera ant pit.
When we get to the end of the movie, their red bubbles are attacking Hibiki.
Oh, you mean when they all go? I thought we were still on the parkour part. You mean where everybody, it's storming real bad and they're all trying to run up the thing. Okay.
And the red bubbles form a big ass butthole.
I don't know. I must have not seen that part. I know where the red bubbles are attacking, but I don't remember anything looking like a butthole.
There's a part where like she's talking and like doing the whole Little Mermaid stick, and you see these bunch of bubbles, and they form like this big like red and black looking look like a butthole. I'm not gonna lie. It looked like a big old butthole in the sky.
I just gotta ask you though. How many buttholes do you be looking at to come up with these assumptions?
Come on, everybody knows what a butthole looks like.
Well, sure, but nobody seems like they're a gourmet at looking at them.
A butthole looks like a balloon knot.
The fuck?
Anyways,
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say anymore.
You want to continue after the parkour match?
Yeah. So it storms really bad. They get on the boat. They find out that the headband guy wasn't as stupid as we thought, because he's been fixing the boat and everything else as they've been going.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's also been complaining. It seems like he's a jealous boyfriend, or he has feelings for Hibiki at some points, because he gets very jealous about his Uta and Hibiki's relationship at times.
I think that part is he was upset and jealous because he really wants to be with the other lady.
Okay.
You know, because he brings that up multiple times that he wants to be with
Date
what's
her.
her face. Yeah,
and she kind of has things for Hibiki. It seems like a little bit. The scientist girl.
Yeah.
At points in this movie, it seems like it. You know.
I don't know about all that, buddy.
I got because there were parts where she was like cutting his hair and be like, "Oh, you're so cute," you know, and kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know. Anyways, continue the storms or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, they get a team together, they start picking everybody up from all the other parkour teams. And then Hibiki's like, I have to go get Uta. Because when we did the parkour match with the Undertakers, he went to grab her hand and her arm just all disappeared.
Yeah, turn into bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she is supposedly up in this big bubble on Mount Fuji. Not Mount Fuji. And Tokyo Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
because the red bubbles want to take her back.
Yeah.
She's the little mermaid.
Yeah.
So you don't remember that fucking part, do you?
I think that's the only part I remember.
Okay. Yeah, the red bubbles want to take her back, and they're like, sister, she's like, sister, come back with us. And you see like this weird red bubble version of Uta, and she's trying to take her back into whatever weird dimension or whatever she's a part of. And Hibiki goes to save her at this Tokyo Tower. He starts doing all this parkour and stuff and all this and that, and he gets trapped in a bunch of red bubbles, and we see this flashback to where this is where I was confused. A flashback to the day the bubbles showed up.
Yeah.
Did Hibiki cause the explosion of the bubbles?
Yes.
Because he interacted with Uta, who was a bubble.
Yeah.
Are all the bubbles sentient, do you think?
No.
Or is it just Uta who's sentient?
I think it's just Uta.
Okay. This is where I started getting a little confused at this part. And then Uta saves Hibiki. All the red bubbles blow up, and Uta sacrifices herself for Hibiki, and then she disappears and goes away. And Hibiki is sad. Hibiki's sad.
Yeah.
And then we get the ending to where they're reconstructing Tokyo. Or sorry, all the bubbles show up everywhere else, and it kind of like stops wars, brings people together, it seems like.
Yeah.
And all the bubbles pop, and then like we get this reconstruction of Tokyo and rebuilding and stuff like that. And we still have the parkour thing.
The water, like all the bubbles pop, the water starts to recede. Yeah. However the hell that makes sense.
Evaporation, okay. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is, it was more bubbles. More bubbles.
Maybe they pumped it out.
That's where I was confused about, is definitely no pumping out. I mean,
maybe they
pumped out the
bubbles.
It was not going to work though.
Okay.
See, this is one of those things that I'm confused about as well, is how does more bubbles equal less stuff?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Who knows? What's up? What's down? Why is the sky blue? I don't know. What's actually in the bubble?
I feel like these are the questions that could have been asked with this a lot.
Okay, so things are starting to get back together, and they're still doing the parkour thing, which is pretty cool,
Yeah.
And that's the end of the movie, basically. And after that, we get these pretty cool these pictures of Uta. I think this is from like maybe when they did like location scouting for the movie, where they took pictures and put Uta in them. I thought that was pretty cool at the very end. But let's actually discuss this. We kind of talked about it a little bit. Let's discuss our feelings of this movie. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I want you to go first.
Okay. After the first,
so a scale 1 to 5. What would you rate this bitch?
I give like a 2.5.
Okay.
And it only gets 2.5 because the animation was pretty good.
So the animation saved it.
The animation saved it from being like a 1 or something. Okay. Yeah. So let me give you my thoughts on this.
Okay.
After the first like 15 minutes where we had that whole like, or 10 minutes for that parkour scene, after that, I got really bored and started to lose interest in this movie.
Right.
Then when they picked up the parkour again, I was like, oh, yeah, sweet, cool, parkour, you know? So we don't get many anime with parkour. I think we maybe got like one before. It was called like Stride or something. Or I don't remember what it was called.
See, and that's something that I want to touch on too. I think it would be really cool if we had more things that had parkour with like samurai or something else, you know, like maybe modern day people fighting.
The thing is, like, there are also so many unanswered questions, so many open-ended things in this movie. I did feel like the movie kind of had pacing issues. It seems like maybe this might have been better as like maybe like a 3-4 episode 5 episode OVA maybe instead of a movie. I thought honestly you could take Uta and the Bubbles out and just have a movie about parkour. That would have been cool. I just had no real interest in this movie. It didn't personally click with me. I was bored. I didn't really care for a lot of the characters. A lot of the characters we didn't get a lot of character development. Like, we didn't even talk about the one guy who had a prosthetic leg and he used to do parkour, and he comes back and starts doing all this crazy parkour shit with one leg. You know, we didn't even talk about that part, you know? It just, I don't know, man. I hope Netflix didn't pay a lot of money for this anime, because it was just for me this anime did not stick the parkour landing, and it was mid in a bad way. Like, the only saving grace is the animation was actually pretty fluid at points.
Yeah.
For me, honestly. And yeah, I didn't care about Uta and Hibiki's story at all. Yeah, it didn't hook me, and I thought it was I was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, comparing it to Little Mermaid, I don't know. I think we could have taken or leaving that part. It was, yeah, it was an average, well animated movie. It's, you know, it's nothing to write home about. You know, it doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
So my poker face is pretty good with this one, I have to say.
Okay.
Especially with talking to you about it and whatnot. I enjoyed it.
Oh God.
It was all right. I know that I did what I usually do with a lot of things, where unless it is just blatantly horrible, I'll say that it's a good movie. I have far too many problems with this movie, though. So I have to say that I would give this movie a 2.
Okay.
Not even a 2.5. Like, you were generous. I did not like the aspect of how we didn't. All the answers were unanswered. I hated where, at parts, if I looked away for a second, I felt like I was watching a completely different movie
Uh-huh.
that had the same fucking characters in it.
Yeah.
I hated. I mean, like I said, there are so many other movies that you could watch that fall in line with this one that it almost felt like it was a Hallmark love story, cookie cutter with a few other aspects added into it. The only thing that really saved it from being a one for me was the parkour parts and how
Yeah,
well
they were very well
how
animated.
how well animated they were. Um,
Even
you
like the
know,
background, even like the background, like all the details in the backgrounds.
yeah, I love the real world aspect that they really put into it because there was a part where the whole chicken part where she broke the egg and they actually brought up, hey, we only have one egg to share with everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, I like that part. I like how they said that we had to be careful with stuff, how things had to be divvied up. The reason why the boat never moved anywhere for the longest time because they've been building up oil reserves and shit like that,
Yeah.
um I like that, but like I said, overall there was just plenty of things in this movie that I did not enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part because I wanted to like this movie a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
Especially for it seeming like it was like a 3 hour movie.
It was almost a 2 hour movie. It was like 140, 145 maybe, I think it was
Yeah, I mean
runtime.
I feel like if you were to cut it out and make two separate movies out of it, that they probably would have been better.
I think you could
With
strip out I think you could strip out the whole bubble thing and just focus on the parkour aspects and it would have been fine.
I would have liked to see the bubble aspect would have been cool if there were more answered questions about it. Maybe incorporate a character having parkour or something and
Uh-huh.
something else with it. But I just feel like there were a lot of like a puzzle. This is
Do
what I'm going to
you
go
know
with,
what you know
and
now that
then
I'm thinking of
this is what
you
I'm
know
going to go with, and then I'm going to be done.
you know what I'm thinking of? Like you
What?
kind of reminded me of like unanswered questions.
Yeah.
Do you remember like the end of like A Wind Named Amnesia?
Yes.
It was like,
Yes.
aliens, goodbye.
Yes.
Why
This
did
is
the
the reason
aliens
why.
show up?
This is the reason why I didn't. We need to cover that for this podcast too, or this. Yeah, but I really feel like somebody took like a bunch of jigsaw puzzles and threw them all together.
I can see that.
Maybe like three or four, and they all fit together, right? Everything fit together perfectly. But that's what happened is I have some scenes from this puzzle piece or this set from this puzzle, and I have stuff from this puzzle and stuff from this puzzle, and they all fit together, right? Because of how the puzzles are
Uh-huh.
cut. But none of it matches up. It's completely different images. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I felt with this movie was that they took a bunch of different ideas and thought, hey, this would be really cool, and it just really bombed the movie for me.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know how everybody else feel about it because, like you said, we obviously didn't listen to anybody else's podcast before doing this one.
Yeah.
But
I didn't want to like get swayed or like have like a preconceived notion of the movie. And honestly, I went in blind for the movie. Like I didn't really know what the movie was about. I didn't even know there were parkour elements in the movie
right,
until I started it up. I just knew there was a movie called Bubbles and there was a girl on a bubble at one point.
Cobra Bubble.
You know, like
Yeah,
I saw the picture for like the poster and that was it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just that was it. Like I said, I don't know how anybody else rated any of this. I don't know if there's any
Yeah.
extra stuff that anybody thought about this, how other people rated it and liked it, and everything else. But I just had to that's kind of what I had to say, is that I just feel like the ideas going into it were good.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like none of it fully matched up.
So I was looking on eBay, not eBay, sorry, not eBay, Wikipedia. I don't know why I said eBay.
Yeah.
And apparently this got a manga adaptation of the movie. I wonder if the manga adaptation is like slightly different.
I have no idea.
Like, you know how like you'll get like a novelization of the movie, like of
Yeah.
a movie. I wonder if like with the manga, it's a little different. Like obviously the manga was created after the movie was,
Right.
you know, or maybe it was
I
created
have.
like maybe it was created like at the same time. Who knows? But like
That's true.
I'm curious to see what the manga is like, but I don't know if I would read it. I don't think I would ever watch this movie again.
I can
What?
think of one thing,
What?
and I'm gonna hate myself for saying this because everybody's gonna think of me in a different light now.
Oh God.
I would probably turn this on if I would probably turn this on. I'm gonna shoot myself in the face. I would turn this on if I was going to invite like my girlfriend over and Netflix and chill. Okay, that way I wouldn't have to watch this shit.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
But I would know what was going on, so I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember this part.
Okay, well, yeah, those are our thoughts on Bubble. It's a good Netflix and chill movie, apparently.
Fuck you. Everybody's gonna be like, Jin is definitely not who I thought he was.
That's gonna be the title. Bubble. It's a good Netflix and chill movie.
Oh my god. Okay. But yeah, there's nothing else I can say about it. This was, I'm sure some people will like it and they got through all of it. I'm just glad that you didn't ask me my opinion up front, because this show could have went completely different.
Well, I kind of wanted to go in it like in blind and not give my full thoughts on the movie. Like, there was a part in this movie where like I fell asleep and I was like, wait, what happened? And because there were parts where it was just so slow, like it would it had severe pacing issues.
That's my problem too. I liked part of the slow parts. I liked the scene at the garden. I liked them going, off and talking and whatnot. I liked those aspects. This was just not the movie for that, though. I felt like if this was a different one that was more like a love story instead of trying to be a ripoff of The Little Mermaid or some kind of Weathering with You copy or any of the other movies that are related to The Girl That Leapt Through Time or Mirai or anything else like that, would have been a lot better.
But the thing is, like, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time is actually a good fucking movie.
Right. So
which we gotta find that and cover it for the podcast. I own a copy of it.
We also have to cover Mirai too.
And Summer Wars.
And Summer Wars and the Wolf Children's mother.
Wolf children.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Wolf children.
So, yeah, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I had no expectations going into this movie.
I just have to say the only expectation for me that was really broken today was that you gave it a 2.5.
Okay.
I was really imagining it to be a little lower than that too, because I was like, if I'm gonna say 2, Mike's gonna say 1.
I mean,
1.5. Like
the animation honestly saved it for me because the animation was fairly fluid.
You know why your score probably wasn't so low?
Why?
Because of that chunk you fell asleep during.
Oh, probably.
You're like, oh yeah, I just got to watch the good parts.
But I mean, I went back and the part I fell asleep when I went back and like rewatched. So I watched this. Yeah. So like, yeah. Like I finished it this morning because like I stopped like halfway through. I got like an hour into this movie, and then I watched the rest of it, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, this was an okay movie.
It just dragged. It just
dragged.
That's it. I just you know, and this might give me some really cool cosplay ideas to dress up as some of the characters, but it just wasn't a good movie. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it was okay. I mean, it's a good movie to watch, good movie to experience once. Just it was also a good movie to thrash your dreams at the end, so that's about it. And obviously, like you said, it's a great movie to Netflix and chill to. So.
You said that.
I mean, but me. You said that as the title, though.
Well, everybody else is saying it's parkour Little Mermaid, so I want to be different.
Yeah, because it is far from parkour mermaid. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. I hope you guys had a great listen of watching this, and if you watched it, like I said, I would watch it once.
Can I just say something? Which we'll do this on the next episode or our Unwind episode, which I totally forgot to do in this episode. But we did get a couple 5-star reviews recently, and I just want to say thank you to the people who left those reviews for us or like just commented 5-star reviews type of thing. We will acknowledge you. We just got to gather them all up so we can read them on the podcast. We had to find a couple of them on like Audible. I think one of them was on. But we will discuss and kind of sort of talk about them. We just didn't do it at this part. Which I totally forgot. Totally forgot. But if you want to help out the podcast, share the podcast, make sure to go rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcast and Spotify, and it'll help us grow and help us get more listeners and stuff like that. It'll help us in the long run. If you want to email us for a question or concern, you can do so at otakuologypodcast@gmail.com or find us on Instagram and Twitter at otakuologypodcast. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think of our podcast.
And throw us some fruit. Let us know something that you would like to hear on the podcast.
Yes, that's true.
So, but anyway, guys, as always, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Remember to Netflix and chill.